Hello everybody, precious community, how are you? And welcome to Domain TV episode 3. So lots to talk about this week. We're going to be talking about some of what we've been doing, again showcasing some of the evidence and results that Domain brings. We're going to be talking about some different aspects of Domain, including Martha, the ocean's consciousness, and nature, and how you can work with Myriad and Domain with both of these incredible energies. And we're going to be talking about what is coming up. So our first program at the School of Domain Energetics starting next Friday. We're going to be answering some more questions about those because we've had some questions coming in. We're also going to be talking about the future of the School of Domain Energetics and what else is coming, and also the future for Domain TV, because we're in the early phases of everything now, but these things are all here to stand the test of time, be really kind of long standing. So we're really excited to keep bringing these Domain TV episodes to you as well, just to keep you fully abreast of everything that's happening. And for those of you that are really loving biting down on Domain and getting some more detail around it. So let's get started. So the first thing we wanted to say is this book, the Domain Energetics book, Our World, What Comes Next. There's so much magic occurring with it, beyond what I even thought. So see it in motion is beautiful. So we just want to say a huge thank you to all of you that are reading it, that are talking about it, that are reaching out to us about it. It's such a privilege to know that you're even kind of looking at it. It really, really is. And we've just been getting such incredible feedback from people that are reading the book and are then working with Domain. It's occurring for them really quickly, really naturally. And it's because this book isn't just a typical book. It's jam-packed full of energetics, obviously from Domain, to help ignite Domain in everyone that reads it so that they can start working with it. Because, you know, we know that Domain is for all and we want everybody to be able to work with it. And so this book is a trigger point for all who read it. And so we've had some of you contacting us saying that you've been using it and exploring it. It's been showing you things from different parts of our multiverses. It's been bringing you answers and solutions that you just didn't expect. And some of you are messaging and just saying, oh, I didn't do that on purpose, but there we go. Some of you are messaging, and I was speaking to someone the other day who was like, I literally ate the book up in 2 sessions. I literally drank it up. And again, they've been using Domain as well, and Domain's been coming to them in their day-to-day living. And it's just beautiful to watch the magic unfold, because obviously this book has been a long time in the making. We were kind of snuggled down in Alfriston, where I live, for 12 months, you know, exploring it with the other Domain leaders, and getting really comfortable with it. And of course, writing this book. So to see it in motion is beautiful. And also now the colour edition is available in Australia, which is really exciting, because we always wanted to have the book in colour, because it's not just because it looks nice, it's just got so much vibrancy in it. It was always meant to have that colour essence. But in Australia, when we were first publishing it on Amazon to begin with, they weren't able to print in colour. So we offered the black and white edition as well, so that the print edition was still available in some format in Australia, sorry. And also it is a cheaper price point as well, just because it's less to print black and white than it is colour. But now colour is available in Australia, and that is really exciting for us. Our distribution is expanding, so in the UK you can get us on Waterstones and foils online. I know in Australia, because one of the Precious Domain leaders, Kerry Keith, is in Australia, and she was looking this morning and telling me that it's available on Amazon in Australia, but also other online shops as well. And it will be the same all over the world, because we're expanding our distribution. So again, to know that the books are expanding in their distribution and getting out there as well is a really, really beautiful thing. So we just wanted to say, we love hearing back from you. We love hearing the magic that is occurring for you it is just utterly lighting us up. So thank you for being here, and thank you for those of you that are giving us all this amazing feedback. So that's the book side of things. So for all of you that are continuing to read it, you know, feel free to reach out, share the wonder, the joy, the amazement that you're experiencing, you know, that uplift that you're experiencing. Just let us know, because Domain really is all about delighting and surprising and voyaging and discovering and just reaching new horizons and possibilities together. So that's the book side of things. On to this week's evidence spotlight. So last week we were talking about how I had been using Domain for healing. I'm just going to check the sound's working. I always do this each week. Yes, it is. So last week we were talking about how I had used Domain for some healing on someone with some heart issues occurring, and without even kind of knowing it, they were feeling the impact of that healing, because I'd done it without telling them until after I'd done it. I'd had their permission before to do it, but they didn't know I was actually doing it. And then the day after, they're like, oh my gosh, that would be why I was so exhausted yesterday. What has happened since is kind of flabbergasting in a really beautiful possible way, because even I, and I'm sure the other Domain leaders who've been working with Domain over the last 12 months will agree, and those that are signing up for the Domain Immersion Live Experience, you're going to be saying these things soon as well. They, and of course people that are reading the book, but they, the person that I was doing the healing on for the heart, they took their blood pressure over the weekend, because they always take their blood pressure at the weekend, and normally their heart rate is above 100. It was down to 56, and I was literally flabbergasted, because this is what I was about to say. Even now, having worked with Domain for a year and knowing what it can do, like lifting the lid on our potential and possibilities, that's what it's here for. And, you know, this is why it's designed to be used by us in our everyday. Literally, I still am like, OM mother frickin' G. Like, this is incredible, and we are just in the early stages of energizing Domain on Earth. Like, literally, it's so brand new. And so, you know, indicating this person has a much kind of stronger, kind of fitter, healthier cardiovascular system and heart now. So there's more to do. I know there's more phases of sequencing that Domain wants to bring me to help this person, but literally we were both flabbergasted. And this other person really isn't curious about energetics or anything like that, but equally they're not closed off. They are open and they can feel the truth of what I say, even though they're not actively energizing it themselves. And also because it's someone that I've known for quite a while, because I've been expanding my energy with Domain and Myriad, the kind of ripple effect outwards to them has been felt as well. And this is the other thing that those of you will find over time, as you're becoming greater energetically yourselves with Domain, you'll start to trigger that in others around you who are wanting it as well, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. So it's this beautiful ripple effect and ongoing circle of love as always. And then also this week, someone with a Achilles tendonitis. Sorry about the stuttering today, there's obviously a lot of receiving going on. They were literally hobbling, and I know this person has a very high pain threshold, so if they're hobbling, they're in a lot of pain. And so again, I did a session with Domain. It was really potent actually, this experience with Domain, when I was saying to Domain, right, flow me whatever sequencing I need to help fix this basically. And even as it was flowing it to me, I could kind of almost sense the kind of potency of the pain and how it was like being kind of eradicated from that place. So it's very interesting, again, the different sequencing flows. Like, it sounds kind of surreal, but it was true. It was like this kind of lime green kind of slime type liquid from another planet again. So I was being flown in sequencing that was really being kind of flown into the Achilles area, and then I was being kind of shown zoom ins of how it was kind of webbing it. It was really fascinating, the zoom in that I got. And then I was shown a sand-like energy from Domain, again from another planet, that was again like really kind of going into that area. And this is what's fascinating. You don't have to be really technical. You don't have to know the ins and outs of the human body. You go to, and a bit like if you were helping the Amazon rainforest to regrow at a faster rate, you don't have to understand all the intricacies of how trees grow. You go to Domain asking for an answer, and it will flow you a solution that's always harmonious for all and always perfect and right for that target. And this is why it's so usable, and everyone can use it, and it will always bring the perfect outcome for the target. So if the example of that heart rate dropping, there's no fear of it dropping to a dangerous level, because Domain wouldn't do that. Domain's always working in the best way. So it's really important to express that. So this sand energy was being flown around this area as well. And then there was something else that's being flown. I can't actually remember what it was. There were 3 different things that were being flown. And normally, Achilles tendonitis takes 2 to 3 months to heal from. This person is walking around fine again now. And I only did this, I think it was on Monday, and they were still feeling it a little bit sensitive on Monday. On Tuesday, it felt a lot better, and now they're walking around fine. So again, it's so potent, Domain. And as we expand our energies, and those of us that are working with it are expanding our energies and becoming myriad hotspots in our own right that we spoke about last week, it's no longer a case of can we, it's a case of we can. So it's phenomenal, the things that occur. And these are just 2 examples of healing. You can use it for anything. I was talking about money creation last week. You can use Domain for anything. It has answers for anything and everything, and it's here to create new. So really, really awesome. So I just wanted to share that with you. And also in terms of an evidence spotlight, for those of you that have read the book, you'll know that I've spoken about using Domain energetics for the physical body, you know, not just around healing, but in terms of how you want your structure to be. And so for me, it's been sort of becoming more svelte, more toned, more strong. It was more about strength for me, strength and vitality, because in the early days of writing this book, and in my early interactions with Domain, it was in January this year. We're now in October, aren't we? My neck was kind of aching, my posture wasn't good, and I was like, oh, I need to change this. So I had a session with Domain, and the next day was led to certain physical steps to take as well, because you always are encouraged to do the physical things and not just rely on energy. We're in the physical form, so of course, maximising our physical aspects as well as our energetic aspects are going to bring the best outcome for all. And this is why we talk about expanding people's energetic size as well, because rather than just doing physical things, bring the energetics in as well, and it kind of lifts the lid on our potential. So for myself, I've been using Domain for my body in terms of strength, in terms of more svelteness, in terms of more tonedness. That's something I'm still working on as well. And vibrancy. And vibrancy is a really powerful energy that I have created with Domain, which is really beautiful. So the other Domain leaders that have been working with Domain, they've all been creating their own energies as well. And for those of you that decide to work with Domain in the future, you will be creating things because you can go to Domain and create. This is what it's all about. And so the power of Domain for body vibrancy is phenomenal as well. And what I'm being told is, and I haven't received this before, that anyone that's reading the book, okay, I sort of knew this, anyone that's reading the book is going to be really benefiting from that vibrancy energy. But for those of you that are listening to this particular episode, if you're wanting to leverage Domain for body vibrancy for yourself, energetics will flow to help support you in that if you are proactively interacting with Domain as well. So that's really beautiful. I didn't know that, but vibrancy is so beautiful. It can go so mass scale. It's lovely to know that that is occurring for those of you that are watching this Domain TV episode, whether it's live or on replay. So the power of Domain for body vibrancy, and it's not just me that's feeling it, others are commenting on how my body looks different, how it changes. Like, I get comments frequently. And the difference is, this is what we want to explain as well, which we do speak about in the book. Often in this day and age, people can expect quick fix solutions. But in that, there's solutions that don't hold. You can kind of slip back from them. So think about, I don't know, it could be anything. You kind of set out with an intention for something and you're expecting quick results, and then you kind of lose interest and move on to something else. The difference with domain is it's a longer energy, so it's more steady and progressive, but it works in a way that you can't really reverse back from. This is the beautiful thing. So although it takes more time, it's doing things that become irreversible, so the changes hold and last. And this is what is important to understand, yes, for ourselves individually, but longer term for those more global and environmental causes that some of us might be using domain for, such as Amazon regrowth, as one example, creating change that we can't slip back from. No more kind of slipping back and making the same mistakes over and over. So it's really, really powerful the way domain works in that respect as well. So again, I've been using it for my body and vibrancy. You can use it for whatever feels true to you, and it's really, really interesting. I've just been shown. So one of the exercises in the back of this book is a My Life grid. So for those of you that have got the book, you may or may not have reached that point yet. It is exercise, I'm just seeing which one it is. Exercise 6, okay? That's the black and white version I've got. So let me pull up the colour version. I'm being asked to pull up the colour version. So let me do that. 303. So, My Life grid. So on this, basically, when you're creating a My Life grid through the power of this book, it automatically works with domain and pulls in sequencing to support you on an ongoing basis, okay? And so I've got an example in this book of My Life grid here, which I've also got printed and up on my wall. And one of the things on there is vibrant body, because it is my truth that that's something I want domain to keep energizing for me for the rest of my life. And so what was I going to say around that? So it's been a really kind of big focus for me, but you might have something else you want to put on your My Life grid. It might not be vibrant body. It might be something else. So you get to choose basically how you use domain. But again, we're just showcasing an example. You know, I don't ache in the way that I used to. I don't ache. I can feel things with my muscles going on without even necessarily exercising. I can feel stuff going on, but I feel strong, and my shape has changed in the way that feels aligned to me, because we're all different with the way that we want our bodies to be. So again, just massive evidence there of the loving, steady, irreversible progress that domain can bring us. It really, really is. And then the other thing I wanted to share, just as part of this week's evidence spotlight, is, so this is, some of you are going to experience this. We've spoken about this in the book as well, how domain might come to you. So this happened to me a couple of days ago. I could feel like myself being guided not to kind of do as much work and to have a bit more of a rest day. And I could feel something was going on. So I sat on the chair where the dog, Belle, normally sits. And I was like, right, something's wanted to come through here. I had no idea what it was. I mean, likely it would have been to do with domain, but I was like, I'm not really sure what it is. And I could feel Martha, so the ocean's collective consciousness. Now, I write about Martha in the book. We've written about Martha. We'll be exploring Martha as part of the Domain Immersion Live experience that starts next week. Martha's energy is amazing. She's like the collective consciousness energy of all oceans on Earth. She's phenomenal, an intrinsic part, of course, of Sali, Earth's consciousness, and of course, therefore, a strong connection with domain, because domain's all about Earth solutions and possibilities. Even though we've got multiversal access, it's using them on Earth. And it was such a beautiful experience, and I literally felt my energy meld with her. And it was phenomenal, because even sometimes I receive things, but I haven't deeply experienced them yet necessarily myself. I might receive them to help other people because it's relevant for others. But for me, that was my first really deep interaction with Martha, and it was beautiful. And this is kind of what we wanted to say. Domain isn't heavy, it's not hard going, it's delightful, it's blissful. It is transcendental at times. It's like divine, and the uplift that it can bring to your life, because it's helping you experience life in a heightened way. So it works with that stellar energy that we also talk about in the book and will be having a day focusing on during the Domain Immersion Live experience. Stellar energy, there's so much to it. It's an energy that I created. I didn't know this at the time, but now I do. That is bringing people to eternal enlightenment. So those that have been in a real kind of pushing go-getter energy, when they work with Domain, they naturally leverage stellar energy that will help them to slip into eternal enlightenment, which doesn't mean you go around walking all day with your eyes closed humming. It just means you feel the highs of life and the beauty of nature, and it heightens colour, light and sound, and it's very much a kind of about peace and bliss and that kind of heightened elevating living. It's beautiful. It, like, even if I try and explain now, like, it's almost so beautiful that it has no sound. That's the best way to try and explain something that's quite hard to explain. It's such an incredible energy. But those that are working with Domain, they start to feel more and more and more elevated, especially when they're tapping into Domain frequently. As I said last week, if I go a period of time I haven't really tapped into Domain, and then I do, I suddenly kind of, I feel that uplift and love and that kind of satiation. It's like, okay, this is what my energy is designed to do. It's designed to use Domain. Why would I not? It's there. So of course, if I'm not using it, my energy might feel a bit flatter, because if I'm tapping into it, I'm tapping into new energies and potentials and possibilities. And that's what I'm here to embark on and do as a physical human, because I can do that now on Earth because Domain is available. So it brings this uplift. And even last night, and I was guided to share this, even last night I went for a walk at dusk with my beautiful dog Belle, and because where we live, we're near like the sea and rivers, at this time of year we often see flocks of geese flying in their arrow formation heading south for the winter. And last night we saw lots of them, and I literally was just squatted down on this bridge over the river, just like enraptured by it, like almost to the point where I could cry. And I was just, it sounds so, I don't know, potent, but it was beautiful. It's like this whole kind of moment of like, oh my God, look where we live. And I often say that when I walk Belle, because I see Sally, and it's much more than just dictionary definitions. Like, look where we live. Like, if you could ask Belle and she could answer, and some of you can, and she will tell you most walks we go on, I'm like, look at where we live. So it's that real appreciation of where we are and seeing everything really heightened, and therefore going back to non-physical after this physical life and having no regrets that we didn't satiate in and appreciate this physical planet that we work so hard to choose to be physical on. That's what it's all about, is what God's saying. And then obviously all the ripple effects that come beyond that, like things we can do to help Earth and our day-to-day lives with Domain as well. But it brings you those high flows of love and delight. It really, really does. So wanted to just share the Martha experience with you as a part of this week's evidence spotlight, because as more and more of you choosing to work with Domain, you're going to have these experiences. And as we say in the book, Domain may come to you. So enjoy them, because it just gives you that kind of full 360 living. It's not just the physical focus. You've got all of the energetic side that just uplifts and brings delight and joy. Honestly, it is stunning, stunning, stunning. So that's what we wanted to share in terms of that. And then this week, in terms of this week's Domain Hone-In, we wanted to say a little bit more about Martha, because there's so much magic to be uncovered from her. And of course, myriad energy that we spoke about last week flows through Martha and throughout Martha. There are so many undiscovered sequences and elements of knowing that you might well receive when you are working with Domain, because if you think Domain is literally endless, there's no way I, or even all the Domain leaders, or even all the people on the Domain Immersion Life experience, there's no way we can all receive everything, because it's literally endless. This is why everyone that works with Domain, they're literally set off on their own lifetime adventure with Domain in the way that they want to use it. It's so beautiful the way it works in that way. But some of you may well receive some fascinating insight around Martha yourself. One of the things I personally received, and it was on a call with the Domain leaders once, and we were kind of exploring Myriad, and Martha, and I won't kind of say what they received because that's for them, but what I was really being shown was like universe energy, literally under the ocean, which isn't really that surprising perhaps, or it could be quite mind-blowing, because even I was like, how the heck does that work? And I haven't pushed myself to get that understanding yet. All I know is that I was shown universe energy under the ocean, which can be really potent for creation. And I was like, wow. So as you develop your energy with Domain, through reading the book or however you choose to do it, you are going to start, if it's wanted by you, getting drip fed these bits of insight, or feeling like Domain's going, come here, I've got something to share with you, like I had a couple of days ago. And then it shows you something and you're like, oh my goodness. So Martha is an energy that I haven't really tapped into much yet, and I'm being told I'll get more insight around it during the Domain Immersion Live experience, and obviously I'll share it with you guys that are joining. So there's obviously a reason I myself haven't received loads more insight around it yet, because it's always about right time with these things. But Martha is marvelous, basically. She is stunning, and some of you may start to experience your own understandings around Martha. Go for it. Trust what you're getting. You know, if you've read the Domain book, trust what you're getting. Your vibration's supported throughout it. Trust, because with Domain, you will get things that feel completely left field, because it's new. It's showing us new. That's the whole point of Domain, to show us new potential and possibilities always. Even when I was doing stuff with my body, which I've spoken about in the book, I was being shown salt water. I think it was under it wasn't Yellowstone National Park, so I know there's salt water there. I think it was Ohio or something. I've written about it in the book, and I remember like Googling, being like, but there's no salt water there. And then I was shown underneath, there was loads of salt water. And I was like, oh my gosh, Domain's amazing. And I remember the very first time, as I wrote about in the book, that I said that I received that Africa was the original continent. And one of the other Domain leaders said to me, you do know that is the place where humans first were. I was like, no, I had no idea. So often you'll find with Domain, you receive things, and then you do a bit more investigation. You're like, oh my goodness, it's just so stunning. I can't stop saying that word today because it really, really is. So Martha is an energy that I'm getting quite a lot of you here are going to start feeling more from. So we're kind of sharing that for a reason. And Myriad will help flow you the understanding, and of course Domain as well. But just know that Myriad runs potently throughout Martha as well. And then nature as well is another amazing energy that will start to open up to you with Domain. Now, we've all heard of nature energy, I imagine, but it never really resonated with me. I never really got it. But I've had experiences, and I've mentioned a couple of them in the book, where I have literally felt the fields like that I can see from my bedroom window, like recognizing my energy and then asking me for something. And you know how I'm always about, right, demystification. I just want to help things be usable. This, I was like, if it hadn't happened to myself, I genuinely wouldn't have believed it. But I felt them calling, like literally, I felt I was being compelled to look at them. Then I felt that they recognized my energy, and I was like, what? And then they were telling me they were kind of like thirsty, as I wrote about in the book. And they were saying that and I was like, but how can you be thirsty? We've had so much rain, because like last year we were like flooded so much, but it was more for nutrients. And then Domain flowed me sequencing from somewhere else beyond our Earth again, which was literally satiating what they needed nutrient-wise. And I was literally flowing that sequencing to them for about half an hour. And then I felt that they were satiated. And I was like, wow, what the actual heck? So this is the kind of wonder that can open up for you with Domain as well. Even lying in bed one morning, there's a tree that I can often see out my window, and I could feel it was like acknowledging me through the crack of the window. And I was like, this is incredible. It's like heightened living everywhere. And of course, animals are another area that you can use Domain with to help animals, or potentially if you think about flocks of animals, like, or colonies of animals, receiving what they're wanting. This is what I'm being told. I haven't had this yet with colonies of animals, by the way, so this could be any of you. But receiving knowing from like colonies of animals around what they're wanting. and then we can get the sequencing for them to help them. I mean, talk about surround sound, high definition, Acceler-filled living. This is the kind of just sheer wonder that opens up to you. It's like all of your senses are wide open, but not in a way where you're bombarded, because Domain doesn't bombard, but just where you're aware, in a way where you're like switched on and tuned in to like the tapestry of our entire freaking planet. It's freaking incredible. So we wanted to share those examples with you this week as well. And again, for those of you that are reading the book and starting to work with Domain, or even watching some of these reels and being excited by things, so I know several of you are really drawn to Africa as well. And again, as we've written in the book, if you're drawn to Africa, it's probably because you're energetically meant to be doing things there when it's right for you, because it's something you wanted to do when you have this physical life. And Domain and Myriad can be used in Africa in a way that they can't yet anywhere else. They're going to shine a spotlight out to the world, showing what Domain and Myriad can do. So it's by no surprise I've had some of you messaging me going, oh my gosh, Africa, like literally when you're ready to do stuff with Africa, let me know. Because for those of you that don't know, one of the things me personally I'm really passionate about is Thrive projects in Africa and helping certain aspects of Africa to thrive. Other Domain leaders have their other things that they're really focused on. Those of you that come forward to keep working with Domain as well, you'll have your own areas, but for me Africa is really important, and I know there'll be a whole heap of people that come together, and all of us together work together with Domain Energetics to help bring this incredible change and showcase to the world what's possible. So it's by no surprise I've got some of you messaging me going, oh my gosh, Domain in Africa. And the thing is, as I think most people are realising, it's not about just going straight to Africa now. It's like getting comfortable with using Domain yourself first, loving it for you first. This is what myself and the Domain leaders did. This is what we'll be doing on the Domain Immersion Live Experience that starts next Friday. It's like energise it for you, explore it, take delight in it and discover it for you first. And then you'll know when you're ready to actually do stuff that's more planetary and environmental, if that's something that lights you up, because it might not be. You might just want to use it yourself in your day-to-day. So much potential, but it is about using it yourself first and really getting comfortable and feeling the exhilaration of using it yourself first. So they're the things that we wanted to hone in on this week. And again, next week, in next week's episode, we'll hone in on some different aspects for you. So on to upcoming. So lots of awesome stuff coming up. So I think most of you know, but just to talk about it a little bit further, because we know some of you are watching these lives and you're a bit like, this is really, I can feel I'm intrigued. I feel there's something there, but it's still very new, okay? So we're just going to talk about it a little bit more as well. The Domain Immersion Live Experience starts next Friday, and so much to say around it. It's going to be so awesome. So those of you that are signing up so far, like, you are our people, because you, very much like the Domain leaders, you are seeing it and you just are like, oh, I want to bite down on it. Even if I don't fully understand it, I want to bite down on it. And what we wanted to say is, Domain is for all. And what God was showing me yesterday, which was really beautiful and loving, is that some of you are watching what we're talking about and almost looking over your shoulder as if to say, but it isn't me that this is relevant for, because I'm not X, I'm not Y, I'm not Z. So it could be, I'm not awakened and involved, or I am a bit tired from my journey the last few years and actually that's not right for me now. Like, that is for someone else. Like, or it sounds a bit too complex or out there, and it's not me that she's talking to about the Domain Immersion Live Experience. It's someone else over there. This is the visual that literally God was flowing to me. But it's for you guys. And this is the thing that I was receiving yesterday, is that there's a reason this first program is being communicated to you guys that are here now and our current community, because there are golden nuggets of physical humans here, you guys, that are the ones, basically, are our golden nuggets for this first program. Because this first program in the School of Domain Energetics, which is going to be here always, like really long standing, creating loads of legacy and history on our earth. This first program, the Domain Immersion Life Experience, is its debut program. And it's going to be a month of beauty and lightness and joy and discovery and adventuring and voyaging and just enjoying the shizzle out of it. But it's going to be working with your energy really deeply. We'll be doing that for you. You're not going to feel drained from it or anything like that. You're just going to be like, oh my gosh, suddenly everything has opened up to me. It's that kind of feeling. And so it's going to be such a kind of deep energetic program, and it's perfectly designed that way. And there is a reason it is only running once. It's to kind of capture and accommodate for you golden nuggets that are the ones that are like the second wave to work with domain. So the first wave was our wonderful domain leaders who you can read about, of course, on the Sarah Morgan Global website. But there's this second wave coming now for the Domain Immersion Live Experience, almost like a ring that kind of stands outside like the domain leaders. It's like this second wave, and God's saying you're like the golden nuggets, like, and whether you use domain just for yourself to voyage and delight and discover, or whether you do want to go on and do something more global and environmental with it, it is for you that this program's for. So we're saying it doesn't matter what your background, what your history, where you think you are energetically, whether you think you should be more evolved or advanced or not, it doesn't matter. The program's for all. This is the thing, domain is for all. This is what we're wanting to share to the world. But this first program is very much for those that are currently in our community, because you guys are the golden nuggets. So I asked yesterday when I was kind of having this receiving, I was like asking, where did I write it down? Bear with me. I was like, who are our domain people? And I was getting loving, happy, hopeful, passionate, caring, quirky, fun, quieter even, but magical. It's literally for everyone, no matter age, background. Please don't feel intimidated by it. We're here to showcase, like, to help you discover and experience for yourself the wonder of it. It's going to be such a delight, and you are our people, the ones that are coming forward and are watching this and are tempted and are still a little bit like, I'm just aligning my energy. You are our people, you are the ones. And so, you know, there are our exploration calls available all of next week. Obviously it starts next Friday. But if you are watching a little bit, slightly, not in the sidelines, that's not right, but you're watching, but you're thinking, but she isn't talking to me. The Domain Immersion Live Experience isn't for me. Like, it is. Like, it's for you guys. And so if you have any questions, please do just reach out. Even if you don't want an exploration call, but you just want to ask me a question on Messenger, please just reach out, or through the website, please just reach out and let us know. But the message is from the domain team, you're ready. This is what I wrote down yesterday. You're good enough and you're perfect. You don't need to do X, Y, and Z beforehand. You could come to the Domain Immersion Live Experience not having even touched the book, having just seen one thing that's talking about it and you're drawn to it, and enroll, and you're meant to be there. So it doesn't matter what background you have, where you think you're at. It's just to showcase the wonder, deeply energize you, so you're set up with domain for life, shaving years off of your own journey with domain, but your energy is going to naturally ripple out to the rest of the world. As you're getting on and living your life and loving your life and using domain, your energy is naturally going to ripple out to the rest of the world. So you are our golden nuggets. So we're kind of continuing to seek out, because we've still got a few days before the program starts, our golden nuggets, that kind of second ring, that second wave that's going to kind of stand around and support the domain leaders and myself. And then beyond that, where we go on to what's coming beyond that for the School of Domain Energetics, there will be workshops, like shorter workshops, which are beautiful For example, there might be a workshop on Martha as an example, but they're going to be a very different kind of energy to this first one, which is our golden nugget people. I keep going like that because I keep being shown like golden nuggets and them kind of coming out of the dark and being shown basically. So it's a very special program. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be wonder-filled. It's going to be beautiful because you're each going to kind of develop your energy in the way that you want with Domain, and it sets you up for life. It's going to be flipping awesome. But like we say, moving forwards, our plans for the School of Domain Energetics, and I've got the plan in front of me on my wall, are to do workshops further down the line, do Q&A events where you can come on and ask myself and the Domain team a live question as well. Potentially, this one's a bit TBC, but maybe an in-person event where I live, because there's a lovely hall that we can use here as well. So there's lots of beautiful things lined up within the School of Domain Energetics. Thank you again to those of you, or I can't say it's heartfelt enough, that are already enrolling in the Domain Immersion Live experience, because you are the energies that are setting the foundations for the School of Domain Energetics moving forwards. It's like you are the ones that are setting it in place. It's like literally moves me, because as I was saying to one of you this week, like this for me is about fulfilling a commitment to Domain, which was bringing Domain into the world. I want this first program to have you golden nuggets in it, because I'm honouring what I said I would do for Domain, and you guys also will be familiar with Domain from non-physical, and so again you'll feel when you're actually in it that you're meant to be there as well. So don't look over the shoulder. Just a huge thank you for that as well, because it's like I've made this commitment and I want to honour this commitment I've made to get Domain off of the ground and out into the world. And our amazing Domain leaders have been a vital part of that over the last 12 months, all of us developing our energies with it behind the scenes. But obviously the School of Domain Energetics is now about taking it more globally, and the other Domain leaders will be doing their own things with Domain as well. So do go and check them out as well. I always say that because they're incredible as well. We've all got our different things we want to do with Domain. But this first program, launching this pioneering school, those of you that are enrolling, we cannot thank you enough, because it's like, this is what I really committed to come here on Earth and do. So thank you for being there and being awesome. And for those of you that choose to be there and be awesome over the coming days as well. So we've got lots of things lined up. Really, through the School of Domain Energetics, we will be doing things every month, whether it's a Q&A or whether it's a workshop. There will be things going on, and potentially a live in-person event, potentially next summer, a bit TBC on that. And at the right time as well, we have got our Thrive Projects Africa focus. We'll be energising that more next year and looking to start to get that off of the ground in the summer as well. So much goodness occurring just to accommodate and provide for those people that are coming through and they're wanting to work with myself and Domain more closely. So we're going to have a nice variety, or an awesome, wondrous variety of things that you can choose to get involved in or not. Okay, as we've said before, the School of Domain Energetics, there's no membership fee. It's just you get to pick and choose what you might enjoy. And the way you keep abreast of what we're offering is either keeping an eye on our social media, or of course signing up for our newsletter, which you can do on virtually every page of the Sarah Morgan Global website. So that's that. And then finally, we just wanted to finish off as well with what's coming in terms of Domain TV as well, because at the minute we're sharing them here, but over time we are going to be streaming them through to YouTube as well. We are posting currently the replays on YouTube, so if you're watching this on YouTube, that's why you're seeing it. But at the right time, I was doing some research yesterday, we will stream to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. And also there will be things like we'll be showcasing more of what's going on in the Domain community on a wider basis as well. Maybe meeting some of the Domain leaders, maybe doing some kind of interviews or sharing and that kind of thing. So they are going to develop and deepen over time. And again, as the Domain community builds, again, more opportunities for those that are proactively working with Domain to come on and share their experiences and what they're doing and the stuff that they're doing that's utterly groundbreaking, because this is it. This is what Domain TV is about. It's about education, but it's also about sharing and showcasing and helping and loving, fulfilling that Domain circle of love. So lots to come from Domain TV as well. Thank you for your support in these early weeks, because we are only on episode 3, and if this is the first time you're watching, we do air them every Friday at 10 a.m. So you can always watch them here at that time, or you can watch the replays on the Sarah Morgan Global website under the Domain TV tab. So that's quite a lot going on again as ever, but we're so excited. In summary, just keep enjoying, exploring and discovering. That's what it's all about, because we've got a whole wide world out there, a whole wide multiverses that we can now gain access to through Domain and Myriad, that we can draw new answers from, that we can achieve new with on Earth, that, you know, new things that are pioneering and groundbreaking, all with our energy. And we're here to feel really fulfilled and satiated and expanded in our lives, and like we're standing on top of the world. And of course, we're humans, we are still going to have moments. But to know that when you're working with Domain and you're experiencing the energies like Myriad and Sali and Martha and God and all these endless other energies, nature, you do feel so expanded, and like you're just, like we said earlier, surround sound, high definition, fully tuned into your whole physical life experience. And that is an energy that will keep building, and the more you use Domain, the more you'll feel those highs and flows back from Domain. And this is where we now lead towards utopious living, which is what we talk about in the book, what we mention. You know, this is where we're going now. This world we've always aspired to live in, from so many aspects, not just the environment, not just humans and resolving conflict, but like all aspects, living in a world where it's equalised, there's freedom for all, it's harmonious, it's turned up in colour, light and sound, it's limitless in possibilities and our creation and our potential, and it's loving. This is utopious living. So Domain energetics are for a better world, and we love that you're here and a part of this loving movement that is full of creation, discovery and exciting new opportunity. So we love you so much. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in. And we love you. We will see you again, same time, same place next week. Mwah.